Welcome to a deep dive into the heartbeat of our republic, election integrity. In an era of polarizing headlines, the question, is your vote really safe, has moved from the fringes of political theory to the center of national discourse. Today, we are unpacking the mechanics, the myths, and the massive logistical efforts that go into securing millions of individual ballots. It is not just about who wins or loses, it is about the system itself, the checks, the balances, and the people behind the curtain. We will explore the tension between security and accessibility, examining how different states and nations tackle the monumental task of proving that every legal vote counts. Whether you are a student of political science or an active voter, understanding these nuances is critical to navigating the modern information landscape. Let us start by looking at the core pillars that define a secure election in the 21st century. The battle over how we physically cast our votes is a clash between tradition and technology. On one side, we have direct recording electronic machines, or DREs, which offer speed and accessibility for those with disabilities. However, cybersecurity experts often point to the lack of a physical record as a major vulnerability. In contrast, 93% of jurisdictions now use systems with a paper trail, either through hand-marked paper ballots or voter-verifiable paper audit trails. This shift back to paper is driven by the need for recountability, the ability to look at a physical object if the digital tallies are questioned. We are seeing a massive transition. By 2024, nearly every U.S. state has implemented some form of physical verification. This hardware choice is the first line of defense against both human error and sophisticated digital interference. One of the most heated debates in election integrity revolves around voter ID laws. Proponents argue that requiring a government-issued ID is a common-sense measure to prevent impersonation fraud, noting that 35 states currently require some form of identification at the polls. Opponents, however, point to the potential for disenfranchisement, citing data that roughly 11% of U.S. citizens, approximately 21 million people, do not have a current government-issued photo ID. This tension highlights the accessibility paradox. How do you make it easy to vote but hard to cheat? We are seeing states experiment with different solutions, from free ID programs to affidavit-based voting. The goal is to find a balance where security measures do not become barriers for marginalized communities or the elderly, ensuring that every valid citizen has an equal path to the ballot box. Modern elections are no longer just fought in the streets, they are fought on servers. Cybersecurity is the invisible wall protecting our democracy. Since the Department of Homeland Security designated election infrastructure as critical infrastructure in 2017, the level of federal support has skyrocketed. We are looking at a multi-layered defense, from air-gapping machines, meaning they are never connected to the internet, to continuous monitoring for denial-of-service attacks on reporting websites. Yet, the threat remains evolving. Foreign actors and domestic hackers constantly probe for weaknesses. It is a game of cat and mouse, where a single successful breach could undermine public trust, even if it does not change a single vote. We must understand that 100% security is a myth, but through defense in depth, officials aim to make the cost of interference prohibitively high. The 2020 election saw a historic shift, with roughly 46% of voters casting ballots by mail due to the pandemic. This massive expansion of no-excuse absentee voting triggered intense scrutiny. Proponents argue it increases turnout and allows voters more time to research candidates. Critics raise concerns about the chain of custody, the series of hands a ballot passes through from the mailbox to the counting center. To mitigate these risks, jurisdictions use signature verification, secure drop boxes, and unique barcodes for tracking. While instances of coordinated mail-in fraud remain statistically rare, the perception of risk remains a significant hurdle. Looking ahead to future cycles, the challenge for election officials is maintaining the convenience of mail-in options while providing the transparency needed to satisfy a skeptical public that every envelope is handled with the utmost care. Perhaps the greatest threat to election integrity today isn't a hacked machine, but a hacked mind. Disinformation, the intentional spread of false information, and misinformation, the unintentional spread, can erode trust faster than any technical glitch. We see perception hacks, where trolls exaggerate minor technical issues to claim widespread fraud. Social media algorithms often amplify these narratives, creating echo chambers where doubts are reinforced. Studies show that false news travels 6 times faster than the truth on major platforms. To combat this, election officials have become chief debunkers, using pre-bunking strategies to warn citizens about likely false narratives before they even appear. The battle for the ballot is now a battle for the truth, requiring voters to be more discerning than ever about the sources they trust and the stories they share. What happens after the polls close? This is where the chain of custody becomes paramount. From the moment a ballot is cast, every movement is logged. We are talking about 2-person rules, tamper-evident seals, and GPS-tracked transport. But the real gold standard for integrity is the post-election audit. Risk-limiting audits, or RLAs, are a sophisticated statistical method where officials manually check a random sample of paper ballots to ensure the digital total is correct. In 2022, several key states expanded these audits, finding that discrepancies were virtually non-existent or statistically insignificant. These audits are not about changing the result, but about proving the process worked. By providing a transparent, verifiable trail, audits serve as the final seal of approval on the democratic process, ensuring that the will of the people is accurately reflected in the final tally. The struggle for election integrity is a global phenomenon. While the U.S. system is highly decentralized, other nations take different approaches. Take Estonia, for example, where e-voting, or internet voting, has been used by nearly 50% of the population since 2005, backed by a robust national ID system and blockchain technology. Conversely, countries like France maintain a strictly manual, paper-only system with same-day counting to ensure trust. Brazil uses a unified electronic system that provides results within hours for over 150 million voters. Each system reflects a nation's unique history and technological comfort level. By looking abroad, we can see that there is no one-size-fits-all solution. However, the universal constant is the need for transparency. Whether it is high-tech blockchain or low-tech paper, the world is watching to see how democracies evolve to meet the challenges of the modern era.
As we look to the future, the legal landscape is shifting rapidly. In the U.S., hundreds of bills are introduced each year to change how elections are run, from the For the People Act to various state-level election integrity acts. The debate is often split along partisan lines. Some advocate for federal standards to ensure uniformity, while others argue that the Constitution gives states the primary power to manage their own elections. We are seeing a push for automatic voter registration and permanent mail-in lists on one side, and stricter ID requirements and limited drop-box locations on the other. These legislative battles will define the 2024 cycle and beyond. The ultimate goal of any reform should be to increase both the security of the vote and the participation of the electorate, ensuring that the foundation of our democracy remains strong for the next generation.
Ultimately, the strongest safeguard for election integrity is you, the informed citizen. Security is not just a series of locks and passwords. It is a culture of transparency and civic engagement. You can contribute by volunteering as a poll worker, participating in public logic and accuracy tests of machines, or simply by sharing verified information from official sources. When citizens understand how the process works, they are less susceptible to fear-mongering and disinformation. Democracy is a participatory sport, and its integrity relies on our collective commitment to the truth. As we've seen today, while challenges exist, the systems are more robust than often portrayed. By staying engaged and asking the right questions, we ensure that our elections remain free, fair, and secure. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the heart of our democratic process. Your vote is your voice. Keep it safe.